All right, today I'm switching up the order. Okay, we got three stories. One, Virginia Giuffre, the most famous Epstein victim, it turns out was writing a tell-all book, which is coming out later this year, and definitely calls into question the details of how she met her maker and or passed away. Okay, so we're going to talk about that because who she's going to expose, very relevant. Okay. Also, we got a new bombshell report that Ghislaine Maxwell was the personal guest at this posh Clinton Foundation event, like well after she had been named in 24 cases with underage. Like she was a complete known entity, that she was exactly what we all know she is now. And Bill and Hillary Clinton personally brought her to this event like an honored guest. So we're going to look at those. We're going to look at those stories shortly. We're going to start though with this recording from her deposition. Okay. And the reason I'm switching this order, I actually did this as I started this as the last section, but it's so much more relevant than anything else. I did not anticipate it to be this good, that now I'm going to put it at the front and then we're going to do the other stuff later. So you're going to get into that right this second, right after you subscribe to the channel and like this video on the honor system. But now let's take a look at some of this stuff. Like I want to listen. I actually have not listened to this, full disclosure. So we're going to listen to some of this together. This is the Ghislaine Maxwell recording of her deposition.
I want to talk about that. But as it relates to blackmail, the question is whether you're aware of any time that any of the individuals we're talking about, and we'll talk about others, receive massages from women who are under 18 or may have been under 18, and that whether there was any sexual assaults or sexual contact between any of these people and those masseuses, which would have allowed then Mr. Epstein potentially to blackmail them and say,
okay, I think that we understand the question, dude.
You have to continue to work with me, or you have to give me money, or else I'm going to tell the world that you did this.
Oh my God, is that how blackmail works? This is who we have doing the questioning. Like Ghislaine in the back of her mind is, she's like, oh, this is what I'm up against. Some dimwit that thinks he needs to explain how blackmail works to me. Like, come on, dude.
Right. I think this is a really good place to start with how this story began.
Okay.
So let's assume that premise is correct, that he was doing that and he was going to tell everybody, going to say, oh, you had inappropriate relations with an underage girl. If you don't have video or photographic evidence, I'm not sure that even the FBI would take that. Well, maybe today, but certainly not back then.
I agree. Isn't that why you had everything wired for video and sound? Isn't that how all of these intelligence agencies work with their little honeypots in Russia and their honeypots in America, right? Little girl's a little bit too friendly down at the bar at the hotel. You better be suspicious. If you're like, this is weird, like no woman this beautiful has ever thrown pussy at me like this before, something's not adding up. It's like, you're right, it's not adding up. Either she's a prostitute that's going to start propositioning you for money, or it's a honey trap. Unless something fucking drastic changed, you should be very suspicious.
Would take that seriously. So you have to have something to say, hey, look, I've got this video of you doing terrible things and you need to. So I built those houses, many of them. I decorated those houses. I put the electricians in for the wiring. I never wired nor saw a single house that had any type of inappropriate, let's say, video surveillance, and I'll define that for you. Inappropriate.
You know what I'm hearing here? She's fucking smart, dude. This is a smart woman. And this dumbbell who was questioning her, who gave a 4-sentence example of what blackmail might be, is not even remotely as smart as she is. And she's a serious, this is a real operator here. You got to keep in mind, I know people think Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein, they think like kitty diddlers, which they were. But they were also international spies who were executing one of the most successful intelligence operations in the history of the world. Okay? If you underestimate her intelligence and her ability to navigate this thing, if you are, if you're someone who can actually affect the outcome of this, and you go in thinking you underestimate her, she's gonna fucking chew you up, dude. She's gonna chew you up.
Appropriate surveillance would mean in a bathroom, in a bedroom, in any private area of a home.
In a room where there were massages given.
Inappropriate. I would say.
She's like, you just need to verbalize every obvious. I just said that.
I would define appropriate surveillance to be the front door of a house, or potentially, as in 71st Street, the physical plant. Anywhere else.
The physical plant. You want to know what that is? You want to know what she's talking about right there? Have you guys ever heard Adam Weinstein talk about his experience going to Jeffrey Epstein's house? Okay, this is why this is really important to understand how smart she is, okay? Because you need to evaluate what she says against what has been said publicly. The second that people have talked about something publicly, a credible source, she knows I not only can, but should reference the thing that they've exposed, because if I don't, it's going to make it seem like I'm lying, okay? So when Adam Weinstein went to Jeffrey Epstein's place under the auspices of some kind of conversation about the physics research that he was doing at Harvard, I think, or Yale, I don't know, whatever, one of those Ivy League schools. He said that he went there, and in the waiting area, there was this like plant that was like moving, or this thing that this like art piece that was like moving around, very, very like unique. And it was so unique that something caught his eye, and he kind of went over to it and looked at it, and there were little cameras that were kind of like moving throughout this art piece. And if you actually think that through, okay, like think about this, and again, take for granted you are dealing with some of the most high-level operators that have ever existed in terms of gathering intelligence. So what they do is they create a piece of art that is inside this room that moves, okay? So why is it moving? So you will notice it, okay? The whole thing is created specifically for you to notice it. And you think that Adam Weinstein is unique in the fact that he saw something that he needed to walk over there to examine? No, that's done by design. They go up, they walk over to see what that is, and when they figure out it's a camera, they have stuck their face directly into the camera. Now, why would that be important? It's important because they are almost certainly recording everything in that apartment, which she is lying about now. But what you've established with that moving plant is that you have a face shot. So it's like, this is who this person is. And we have this video shot. So it's not doctored, of him walking up, putting his face right into the camera unwittingly. And then everything that happens after that in this building, you have him by the balls that that's that person. There's no miscommunication. They're not going to be all, you can't even say that. You can't even prove that's me in the video. Okay. And again, her bringing that up here, if you think that, oh, well, listen, she told the truth about that. You think that I know that Adam Weinstein fucking put that out, and that you think that fucking Ghislaine Maxwell doesn't know that? So, the idea, then they're like, she was totally forthcoming. She's totally telling the truth. She has no reason to lie. Yeah, fucking right. She has more reason to lie than any person who has ever been asked a question of any kind in history.
Would be grotesque.
I'm sorry, but did she really just say that having a camera in this place anywhere other than the entryway would be grotesque? Okay, guys, I cannot stress this enough. If you are not super familiar with the accusations levied against Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell in terms of like all the different ones, I would reference you to the accusations from that young artist, okay, who the sisters. And one of them, they were separately abused by the two of them. And I've heard this woman's story. I've literally watched her tell it in detail. She's for sure telling the truth. And she's talking about when she was 16 years old and got forced into this with Ghislaine and Epstein, brought out to this place on completely false pretenses. She's a 16-year-old. Parents assumed that they were giving her to someone smart who was going to help her with her art career. And then what actually happened is they trapped her in this house, and then together essentially, forced her into, a threesome with the two of them when they're like, I don't know, 40s or something. And she was 16. And Ghislaine was an absolutely very active participant in this whole thing. In this case, physically, you know, like not just like prepping her for Jeffrey, physically herself. Okay. So like, I don't know, something about her saying blah, blah, blah is grotesque is kind of funny. You're all, oh, it'd be grotesque to have a camera in the house. Hey, but she didn't have any problem penetrating a 16-year-old while trapping her. She's entrapped, uncomfortable, does not want to be there. You know that, and yet feel totally fine and maybe even turned on to penetrate her. Tell me what's grotesque again.
Plant. Anywhere else would be grotesque.
So I just want to come back to, I know I'm just hopefully saying the obvious, but when you say the houses, you're talking about his New York
Yes.
brownstone.
Yes.
You're talking about the island in the Caribbean.
Yes.
You're talking about the residence in Palm Beach.
Yes.
And you're talking about the ranch in New Mexico.
Yes.
Anywhere else?
Paris.
And in Paris.
I'm sorry. Hey, no wiring for video in the New Mexico property? You sure you want to stick with that? She obviously has not seen Coop's video on that. Okay? That's not true at all. That's provably not true. They had an entire fucking floor that was set up, the digital room. The whole place is fucking wired. Okay? The whole place is wired. That's, maybe she did not know that had been exposed because I had never heard about that until Coop covered it. But
and so,
and the plane, I saw some ridiculous thing with the plane that was, well, mind you, yes. I didn't hire any electrician on the plane.
So unequivocally,
I think what she's referencing is that someone said that she had said that the plane was wired for video and sound.
Unequivocally, from what you know, and you only know what you know.
I only know what I know.
But from what you know, you do not believe a camera exists, or a video camera, or a camera that takes pictures inside any of his residences.
Correct.
So even...
Jesus. If she gets one favor from the government for this shit, that's embarrassing. I mean, like, the fact that she already got transferred to a minimum security prison, apparently as a quid pro quo, quid pro quo for this interview, she's lying to your face. She's bold-faced lying. She's bold-faced lying. Like, what is this? Yeah, there's no wiring for sound, no video, nothing like that. Yeah, we weren't blackmailing anyone. All the evidence that we were, it's all not real, you know? And listen here, Mr. Smarty Pants, you clearly are a very intelligent gentleman. Are you going to go ahead and ask me any questions that are going to try to trap me, or am I just going to be able to just, like, deny and you are going to just accept it? Because this is ridiculous. Like, she's lying.
The appropriate cameras that you just talked about, which would be kind of exterior security cameras, did you know whether there was any cameras that you're aware of inside any of the locations?
Never, with one exception.
Okay, what's the exception?
The exception is Palm Beach.
Okay.
And the reason, so in Palm Beach, Epstein was having money stolen. He noticed money was being stolen from his briefcase, call it his briefcase. And
he's like, one of these teenage little hussies are stealing my money after I abuse them and break them permanently for my own gratification. I mean, geez, these selfish little bitches. You used to be able to abuse people and they would just leave afterwards. Now they're stealing our shit. What is the world coming to? Don't they know I'm a billionaire? Fuck.
And he called in the Palm Beach police, and the Palm Beach police, installed cameras on where he kept his briefcase.
Where was that? Do you remember?
At his desk. So the house...
So like I said, she's smart, you know? So she's smart enough to remember all the way back then, 20 years ago, that there would be a record of the cameras being installed by the police for this dumb thing. Who would even fucking remember this? Honestly. Like that, who would even remember, like some dumb thing like that, like one of the fucking workers was stealing money and then like, oh, the cops came in and installed some fucking camera. You know, like given the context of what they're asking her about, I don't even know if this would even like come into a person's mind normally. Now, again, she's really smart, so it's possible she just remembered it. but it's also obvious that she knows there will be a record of that. So like, this is like, I give her, like, you can't tell, you know, I say that some people are very challenged in being, what's the right word? Like logical or, that's not the right word. Whatever, you know, like where you're seeing things through a certain tinted glasses, right? Like people have the Trump derangement syndrome, or like, well, the only answer is that Trump is the worst. And you're like, okay. But I see this as like, I am assuming everything she says is a lie because I know what kind of person she is. Now, listen, honestly, I find her extremely charismatic and very impressive, honestly, how intelligent she is. But if she tells a true thing like this, I just go, oh, okay, she's trying to trick them into thinking that her testimony is genuine because she knows that there's going to be a record of this thing that they did with the police. So that establishes credibility. And then she lies about the important shit.
On the ground floor was, he had a desk sort of in a corner. There was that camera. I think there was another camera. I think there were 2 or maybe 3 cameras. I believe only on the ground floor, wherever he may have had, maybe he had another office in the cabana.
I also, I find it a little bit weird that when she references him in all these interviews, she calls him Epstein. Okay. No girl has ever called their significant other dude by his last name. That's something dudes do. I've never heard that before. It sounds very conscious. Like this sounds like a conscious decision. And again, I'm saying this to bolster the level that she is actually operating at. Okay. Because when you say Epstein, that sounds less personal than Jeffrey. Okay. So she says Jeffrey had whatever. Subconsciously, what people interpret is that she had a very tight relationship with him. She's choosing to call him Epstein because it sounds more impersonal. Okay. She's a fucking pro. Like this is a real pro.
And maybe the camera there.
When was this? I'm not looking for an exact date, but what time period are you thinking about when you say
2003.
This?
I think I can date it for you precisely, actually. 2003, I'm pretty firm on that date. And I can be firm because John Alessi, the butler, was fired in the end of 2002, and he was the thief.
He was deceased? What? She's all, yeah, we had a satanic orgy and we dismembered him while he was still alive because he stole $600 from Jeffrey Epstein. But the devil loved it, and soon after the sacrifice, I got a free yacht. You know, that's how it works. You kill someone, you praise Satan, and things just come into your life. You should try it. It's like, no, I'm good. I'm okay, you know.
So aside from law enforcement installing a camera to try to catch somebody stealing money from Mr. Epstein, you're not aware of any cameras at the island? No? Sorry, just so we record it. No,
sorry.
No, that's okay. You were nodding your head no. So what about...
No cameras anywhere outside of possibly things that I would consider normal. So the garage gate, something
Lie.
like that.
Lie.
A front door.
Outside, like security cameras.
Security cameras. And there were cameras inside in the 71st Street that did the physical plant, because it was a commercial building. So you had the hot water. That's a real thing there. It's a commercial building. And there was one camera on the front door, from the internal that did the front door.
Like I'm telling you, man, like when you deal with, I mean, like most people probably will go their entire life without dealing with a person like her that operates at, you know, kind of that is so being devious or dishonest so consistently and doing it professionally. People who have that type of personality, you have to always keep in the back of your mind what you know about them, because it's very, very challenging to remain objective because they're so good at what they do. They're very charismatic. So you find yourself liking them, you know, like you're like, man, you just, you know, the way that a person makes you feel is going to affect the way that you interpret their actions. Like you're going to give way more leeway to a person that you really like you genuinely like them, and they do a thing that's, you know, not good, but you're like, look, dude, like, you know, they do the exact same thing that someone else who's an asshole does, and you're like, fuck that guy. And the other one, you want to give them a pass. And the reason is just because you like the way they make you feel when you're around them. And the people who are genuinely gifted in the way that I'm saying, like they are very likable. I watched depositions of Jeffrey Epstein, and I mean, like, you're just talking, they're asking him questions about abuse. And I'm like, I find myself liking this guy, you know? And I'm not saying I'm unique. I'm saying I would imagine lots of people would. That's why, I mean, clearly the guy was like networked to every single person in the world. Like, you don't just do that because you happen to have a lot of money. You have to be extraordinarily skilled in that type of, you know, environment, you know? And Ghislaine is that way too. So that's why you have to keep in mind. You're like, this woman did this thing that I know about. She also did this thing. So you can't get caught up listening to her and smiling and nodding and laughing and like, oh man, I like it. Cause like, that is part of the deviousness that they are doing all the time, you know? Like, I honestly, fucking Destiny, who says the most repulsive shit ever, you know, like, where, I mean, dude, that fucking guy has said stuff where I could say unequivocally, like, no bullshit. Like, if I was in the same room as him and I actually saw him say that and he was in the same room, I would fucking slap him, like, for real, you know? Like, I find some of the stuff that he said is like that fucking offensive to me, where I'm like, dude, no. Like, someone needs to fucking put a hand on that guy. I'm not saying I would beat the shit out of him, but like, something would have, you know. But when I watch him, you know, like when I kind of like watch his content, I'm like, I find myself liking him, you know. He's extremely charismatic. He's the same exactly the same type of personality. You know, like, you're looking at, you're all, okay, but I know he did this. Like, you're looking at this fucking thing that he's got going on right now with the underage girl and all this shit. But like, even when he's explaining himself in an indefensible position, you naturally kind of are like, you're like, fuck, man, he's charismatic. I want to believe him. But you just need to remember, this is what they did. This is what they're saying and what they're putting out there. Remember what they did. Okay. Like, what they did is who they are. You know what I mean? Anyway, that's what I got. Love you guys. Now we're going to watch, or I'm sorry, the video's not over. This portion's over. Now we're going to look at the Virginia stuff and the Clinton stuff. All right, Jesse on Fire, welcome back. So we got a big video to do right now, just like some of them are big videos and others are not, but this one is pretty big, man, because we got news. We got news on the Epstein stuff that is actually very interesting. Number one story that we're going to look at is Virginia Giuffre. You guys may recall the child victim of Prince Andrew and potentially former president whose name rhymes with Ill Minton, supposedly unalived herself. I hate that word. Nonetheless, so the Epstein accuser, Virginia Giuffre, wrote a memoir, and months after her death, it's coming out. Now, I don't know about you guys, but anytime that the Clintons are involved in anything, and I hear that someone associated with them that might have been some sort of threat, former business partner or any other thing, dies, I always ask myself, what's the likelihood that that was not natural? Or if they supposedly, you know, did it to themselves, if someone did it to them instead of them doing it to themselves, you know, Clinton body count. I'm just saying, like, that is a thing that I've heard people talk about, is that maybe they've stacked some bodies over there, you know? So finding out that she was releasing a book is a pretty serious development, because if you guys remember, I don't know, you know, listen, people join the Jesse on Fire train at different times, but if you were following me back when she died, that was one of like the only times where I was not super suspicious of a death. Well, I'm like, I think she probably did it, just based on the kind of like fact pattern of like her life going into when that happened. There was some really disturbing stuff that was clearly like, she had a lot going on. And when you watch her interview, you know, you could take things from her interview from 4 or 5 years ago. She clearly had a very serious like drug problem for anti-anxiety medication. Anyway, so I believed it. I think that I may have falsely, you know, I might have gotten fooled, which is unbelievable given the context. But so we're going to talk about what is, you know, the book and the description of the book. And also, speaking of reasons we would be talking about people in that category, Ghislaine Maxwell, it turns out, was celebrated at a posh Clinton event years after the sex crimes allegations emerged. Bombshell report reveals. So Do you want to know what the actual outcome of this entire Epstein thing is going to be in terms of big name people who get buried underneath this? Okay. It's not going to be Trump, dude. It's going to be Clinton. Okay. I'm not claiming to have like all powerful knowledge of every sexual act that anybody on earth has ever taken to where I'm like, there's no way that there's any compromising information on this person. What I'm saying is like the writing is on the wall. And what I mean by that is when Prince Andrew was the big poster boy of a big elite who got exposed in the Epstein files or whatnot, I always was very, very confident he was chosen to get thrown to the wolves. And he was probably chosen specifically because he didn't actually wield much power. The whole point of a blackmail operation is that you get compromising information on people who wield a lot of influence, and their influence becomes your influence because they will do anything to keep you from releasing this, that, or the other information, And so, like the entire global civilization is like, who are these kitty diddlers that are associated with, and they're like, we got to give them someone. And it's like, give him Prince Andrew, It's the only way to quell this kind of uproar, right? It is the only way to do it. And when this thing started with Trump, I was like, the only way out of this, they are not going to be able to gaslight their way out of this. Oh my God, what are you talking about? Jeffrey Epstein, who's that? You're still talking about this guy that's definitely dead, with all this amazing evidence that we have, whose face looks like, that's not his face. That picture of his corpse, definitely not him, but stop looking there. He's dead. Like, that's not going to work, Oh, you're going to release the list? No, you're not. Like, that's not going to work. The only way out is you need to pick someone and throw them under the bus, dude. Someone, and the bigger the better without, sacrificing an incredibly valuable chess piece if you're operating at the level that these people do. If someone would have said, what about Bill Clinton? I would have sat and thought about it, and I'd been like, that might be the one that they go with, because they have been beaten right now. Like Hillary and Bill Clinton, they have been beaten. I mean, I'm not saying that Trump has like successfully drained the swamp or anything. There's still clearly big kind of like deep state people who are still, operating within the government, I assume. But the Clintons were absolutely massive power brokers in the deep state game up until the outcome of this election. Even when Hillary Clinton was out of office, like these were big power brokers. And what has happened is Trump and Elon and them, they went in there and they have dismantled their entire, operation. And the reason why I could say that confidently, that is the position that Hillary and them were in, is because Hillary was the Secretary of State. Okay. And if you understand what that role is, they go and they negotiate with foreign countries on behalf of the United States. They are the, when the president of the United States is not there, the Secretary of State is the one who is speaking on behalf of the United States. Incredibly powerful position. I think people hear secretary, and they just kind of think like they've just been conditioned your whole life. Like a secretary is someone who answers phones. Or the Secretary of Defense drops nuclear weapons or kills people like on the drop of a dime. Or the Secretary of State, is literally negotiating with the full power of the military behind them against foreign adversaries or against foreign allies. Like it's a really important position. And they collaborate with the heads of the intelligence community all the time, especially the CIA, obviously, because they're dealing with foreign countries. And so like John Brennan, James Comey, even though FBI is technically domestic, but they're all the same little crew. And what's his name with the glasses, who was I think NSA forever. Like they all work together like that. And all of them were in collaboration working against Trump, as we obviously know now. But now that they've been dismantled, that suddenly looks like a potentially dispensable asset. That's the game that these people are playing. Like that is the real way that this game works. Do I know all of the details of how this? No, I'm telling you, but I know the mechanics of how this game works. And that is how this works. So, if Bill Clinton's like someone's got to go down, and who is the most already dirty, well-known, person on this chessboard is Bill Clinton. Everybody knows, dude. Okay. Like, do I know the specific age of these girls? Do I have any idea of the specifics around each incident? I have no idea. What I'm saying is, like, dude, come on. Okay. Bill Clinton and Epstein, he flew to the island how many times? He's getting all these pictures with like the young girls, and specifically Ghislaine Maxwell said to one of the former prisoners that she was housed with, I don't understand why everyone keeps asking about Trump and no one talks about Clinton. So that's what she's quoted as saying. Now you also have this little number right here. So there's also some transcript from her deposition that we'll listen to as well, like, you know, the interview that she did. But she makes some weird claims. Oh, there were no video recordings for blackmail. I'm like, okay, so how is this credible if that's what she's saying? We already know that they did, you know. But anyway, okay, so let's run through this really quick. So the big takeaway on, oh, by the way, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, I would appreciate it if you guys would do that and like this video. I'm handshaking you. You can feel my hand. Actually, let's just do it like this. The content's not free, but it doesn't cost money. You just need to subscribe and then like the video. All right. Okay, so the Epstein accuser, Virginia Giuffre, wrote a memoir months after her death. It's coming out. All right. So the basic takeaway is that this book that she wrote is coming out this fall. And it's called Nobody's Girl, a memoir of surviving abuse and fighting for justice. Okay. I'm going to just summarize this article to say this. She got a big book deal in mid to late 2023. So at that point, she is now going to be writing this memoir, and she's working with someone who is helping her write the book, which means you have more people who are in the know of what she's writing in this book. Okay. The likelihood that she did not, in fact, put herself down increases immensely based on this new story, solely for the fact that she was going to share additional information that she had never shared before. That's what she got a 7-figure deal. Okay. No publisher signs a 7-figure deal with Virginia Giuffre unless she has some kind of carrot for information that she's going to share in this book that has never been shared before. That's what it is. Okay. So she says that, this content in this book is crucial, aims to shed light on systemic failures that allow the trafficking in vulnerable individuals across borders, and it is imperative that the truth is understood and that the issues surrounding this topic are addressed, both for the sake of justice and awareness. They said that, and then in the event, and she said, in the event of my passing, I would like to ensure that no one's girl is still released. I believe it has the potential to impact many lives and foster necessary discussions about these grave injustices. Okay. And they imply in this article that she's going to name names. All right. So that's that story. I mean, I will definitely read the cliff notes of that book. Hey, I'm definitely going to read that book. Are you though? Probably not, but unless someone tells me like, oh, you need to read it, then I'll listen to it on audiobook. Okay, now the other thing that we're going to talk about before we get into the Ghislaine Maxwell deposition stuff is this, all right? Or actually, I don't even know if it's a deposition. Her interview that she did when she was taken from her prison and put in fucking Camp Fed. But check this out. So it just came out, bombshell report, Ghislaine Maxwell was celebrated at posh Clinton event years after sex crimes accusations emerged. Bombshell report reveals. Now, I want to show you something really quick here, okay? Now, Ghislaine and Bill Clinton. I want to show you this one picture because a picture's worth 1,000 words, okay? There's a picture of them in the White House that makes it incredibly obvious to me that that Ghislaine herself has had sex with Bill Clinton. I can't find it, man, because this one's not it. In this picture, she looks to me like she's DTF with Bill Clinton. But there's one where I think they're in the Oval Office. I literally just scoured it and I cannot find this picture. But yeah, if I had to bet, I would bet pretty heavy that they had a physical relationship. But nonetheless, this is the gist of this story. Okay, so in September of 2013, there was the Clinton Global Initiative Conference. Okay. And this was 5 years after Ghislaine Maxwell had been named in 25 underage girl assault cases related to the Epstein thing, that they were like, she is the one who recruited me, who groomed me, who tricked me into thinking that I was going to be there, like that I was going to be safe. And then, she tricked me. She made me take off my shirt and then got me, whatever. All that stuff had come out. Very public. Like, this is no secret. Okay. And yet she was given she was made an honored guest at an exclusive Clinton Global Initiative conference in September 2013, 5 years after. Okay. And because they had actually like booted her previously, they're saying that the fact that she was made an honored guest almost certainly probably came from the office of President Clinton himself. So like they said, okay, despite this, and they're talking about the cases, Maxwell was one of the handful of people recommended for a free ticket to the 2013 conference, a distinction so uncommon. A source told CNN it suggests her comp pass was personally recommended by either Bill or Hillary themselves. So Jesse, be specific. What exactly are you accusing the Clintons of in this situation? What? I don't know. Well, I don't know. I just think it's weird that he comped her a ticket, right? Oh, well, I'm sorry. What is that in that photograph? Is that a painting that was hung on Jeffrey Epstein's wall of Bill Clinton in the dress that Monica Lewinsky kept with his DNA on it? He's got literally a hanging painted metaphor that they have Bill Clinton by the balls in his house. And yet, after these crazy allegations came out, somehow Clinton found it in his heart to comp her in a way that was so rare that they said that almost certainly this came directly from Bill. Something tells me Hillary Clinton probably not so much. Hillary probably hates Ghislaine Maxwell because she almost certainly knows that Ghislaine Maxwell tapped that booty. Or I guess Bill Clinton tapped that booty or whatever. Okay, so, honestly, there's not a whole lot more to that story. We could read about it. They're talking about the Terramar project, which I know a lot about, actually. It's because Mouthy Buddha did a video about it. That's the worst Mouthy Buddha video ever. You guys, Mouthy Buddha is my favorite creator of all time. And he's only done 1 or 2 videos where I was like, man, he like really was reaching on this. This is very unlike him. And the Terramar one was one where like he was trying to say that this Terramar project was some kind of like secret trafficking project. I'm like, there's like, you're laying all this out. There's like no evidence of that. And usually, like when he covers that stuff, usually he comes with receipts, son. That one was just a weird one. At least, maybe I could watch it again. Either way,